here is a short story, a job interview in London that slowly turns around. Get comfortable and follow along. Listen for the warning signs the interviewer reads between the lines. Let's dive in. The office sat on the 9th floor, all glass and gray carpet. A receptionist named Sophia showed Amara to a small meeting room and offered her water. This was Amara's third interview this month, part of a big career change, and she felt ready. She had practiced her answers for days. Daniel, the hiring manager, came in with a wide smile and a firm handshake. "So, tell me why you want this job," he said. Amara spoke clearly about her skills and her goals. Then Daniel mentioned, almost proudly, that 3 people had left this same role in the last 6 months. Amara kept smiling, but a small warning lit up in her mind. In English, we call that a red flag, a sign that something may be wrong. She made a quiet mental note and gently asked him to tell her more. Daniel leaned back and changed his style. He began firing quick questions, one after another, barely waiting for answers. "A client is angry, your team missed a deadline, and the phone rings. What do you say right now?" It was a test to see if she could think on her feet, react fast, and stay calm when there is no time to prepare. Amara took a slow breath and did not panic. She described how she would apologize, explain the next step, and offer a clear date. Daniel raised an eyebrow, surprised she stayed so steady. "Good," he admitted. "Most people freeze." Amara smiled politely. She could think on her feet, yes, but she also noticed how much he seemed to enjoy watching people struggle. That, too, went quietly into her notes. Then Daniel tried to catch her out. "What do you actually know about us?" he asked, folding his arms. Amara was ready because she had done her homework. She had studied the company carefully before coming in. She named their main products, their recent growth, and even a small news story from the week before. Daniel blinked. He had clearly expected a blank face. "You've really done your homework," he said slowly. "Not many candidates bother." Amara thanked him, but the comment sat oddly with her. Why did so few people prepare for an interview here? Maybe they already sensed something. She thought again about those 3 people who had left in 6 months and how proud he had sounded. The room felt a little colder, yet she stayed friendly and waited to hear what he would say next. Let's pause the story and look at our first 3 phrases. Number 1, a red flag. A red flag is a warning sign, something that tells you a person or a situation might be a problem. When Daniel proudly said 3 people had quit, that was a red flag for Amara. You could say, "His answer raised a red flag for me." Number 2, to think on your feet. This means to react quickly and smartly, without time to prepare. Amara had to think on her feet when he fired a hard question fast. Number 3, to do your homework. Here it does not mean school homework. It means to prepare well and learn the facts before something important. Amara did her homework before the interview so she could answer every question about the company. A red flag, think on your feet, do your homework. Now back to the story. Now Daniel began to sell the job. He spoke about passion and family and going the extra mile. He said the best staff answered emails on weekends because they simply loved the work, and he said it warmly, as if it were a gift. A year ago, Amara might have taken his words at face value, believed them just as they sounded, without looking deeper. But not now. Behind the pretty words, she heard something else. Long hours, no rest, and no line between work and life. "We're like a family here," he repeated. Amara had learned that when a manager says that too often, it can mean the family never goes home. She smiled and nodded, but she did not take a single sentence at face value. She was listening far more carefully than he realized. Amara decided to ask a direct question. "Can you tell me about the working hours honestly?" Daniel's smile flickered. "Well, we don't watch the clock. If a client needs you late at night, you're there. That's the spirit." For Amara, this was a deal breaker, something so important that by itself, it can end a decision completely. She valued her evenings, her health, and her family, and no salary could pay for losing all of that. A high wage was nice, but weekend emails every week was a deal breaker, plain and simple. She did not argue. She simply understood at last why 3 people had walked out of this same chair within 6 months. The job was not a mystery. It was a warning she could now read clearly. She thanked him for being honest and kept her face calm and kind. For the first time, Amara felt completely free. She was ready to walk away from this offer, to leave it behind and refuse it, even if they said yes to her. 6 months ago, jobless and worried, she would have grabbed anything. Now she had savings, skills, and choices. Walking away from a bad job was no longer scary, it was smart. She looked at Daniel, still talking about commitment, and something in her posture changed. She sat up straighter and her voice grew steadier. She was no longer a nervous candidate hoping to be chosen. She was a professional deciding whether this company deserved her. To walk away from something you don't need is a kind of power, and Amara had quietly just found hers. She let him finish, and then she began to speak. "May I ask you a few questions now?" Amara said. Daniel waved his hand, relaxed. "Of course." In that moment, she turned the tables. She changed the situation so the person in control was suddenly the other one. "Why did those 3 people really leave? When did you last take a full weekend off?" Daniel opened his mouth, then closed it. His easy smile was gone. He gave short, careful answers, and Amara only had to read between the lines to hear the real meaning behind his words to know the truth. The pauses said more than the sentences. Flustered, he suddenly offered her the job on the spot. Amara thanked him warmly. "It's a generous offer," she said, "but I don't think we're the right fit. I'm going to decline." She stood, shook his hand, and left the room calm and clear. Daniel simply stared after her. Time for our next 5 phrases. Number 4, to take something at face value. This means to accept it just as it appears without questioning it. Amara did not take Daniel's warm words at face value. Number 5, a deal breaker. This is one problem so serious that it ends the whole decision. Weekend work every week was a deal breaker for her. Number 6, to walk away from something. This means to leave it or refuse it, often because it is not good for you. Amara was ready to walk away from the offer. Number 7, to turn the tables. This means to change a situation so the person who is weaker becomes the stronger one. Amara turned the tables and started asking the questions. Number 8, to read between the lines. This means to understand the hidden meaning, not just the exact words. She read between the lines and heard the truth. At face value, a deal breaker, walk away from, turn the tables, read between the lines. Let's return for the ending. So what happened? Amara went in as a candidate, but she left as the one in control. She spotted the red flags, stayed calm, asked the questions that mattered, and then politely declined the offer and walked away. And here is the twist. 6 months later, Daniel's company was struggling, and Daniel himself applied for a job at the company where Amara now worked as a manager. The interview, it seems, really did go both ways. Now, 3 questions for you. Answer them out loud or write them in the comments. 1. What was the very first red flag Amara noticed? 2. Which phrase means to understand a hidden meaning? 3. Have you ever walked away from something that looked good on paper? Say your answers, and let's keep learning together. Thank you for listening all the way to the end. If Amara's story helped even one phrase stick in your mind, then today was a win. The best way to learn is to keep going while your ears are warm, so don't stop now. Our next story follows a quiet office worker who finds a small mistake that could sink an entire deal and the difficult choice she makes next. Press play on that one and keep your English moving. If this channel helps you, please subscribe so a new story finds you every week. I'm glad you're here. Keep listening, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next one.